can I call upon Mr. Ahmad Syafik Jaafar, who's supposed to be the last speaker, but we'll turn to something different now, because what Mr. Ahmad Syafik Jaafar will talk about is on the processing business, and something which has been in trend for the last couple of years. Mr. Syafik is actually the founder and head of strategy for IRA NOAH LLP, Malaysia, and IRA NOAH Singapore. He is an alumnus of Monash University, Malaysia. As a consultant, Mr. Syafik has been involved in many projects with the private sector, mainly in business development. And his impressive CV can be summarized as more than 10 years of business development and strategic planning, roles with some flair of branding and copywriting. Yes, we believe that. He has been involved in full-time entrepreneurial ventures with a focus on market research, innovation management, business planning, pitching and fundraising, sales and marketing. And of course, he's looking for a role that serves in the above mentioned functions and ready to learn new skills on the go. Mr. Syafik is here with us now to talk about the prospects of jackfruit as a plant-based meat alternative. You're right on the air now, Mr. Syafik. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yaacob. And I would like to also extend my gratitude for the invitation to participate in this, very interesting webinar series. And really, jackfruit has been really, something that's really close to my heart. And for the startup that I have actually, started here in Malaysia and also in Singapore called IRA NOAH. So I'm just going to share the screen now. Give me a few seconds. I just want to get feedback. Are you guys seeing full slide here?
Yes.
Okay.
We see.
Okay. So thank you once again, Mr. Yaacob. And my name is Syafik. I am the co-founder of IRA NOAH, a food tech startup that focuses on creating plant-based food alternatives to meats, fats, and also butter. So our first product has been already marketed into the market, is basically our plant-based meat made from jackfruit. So we started off this food tech company, just by being very passionate in food. I think practically all Asians love food, right? And for the love of food, I think we also want to create an understanding, or let Thai food be medicine, right? So you want to have a look at the potential of certain food that can be healthy for our body, that can be good for animals, and also good for the environmental conservation. So with that, we took it upon the challenge ourselves, becoming food techie and basically developing plant-based food products for the betterment of the planet. So we started this startup with a very specific pinpoint, which is creating a solution for the processed meats out there. This is something from Cancer Research UK, which shows a very strong correlation. The first group, which is group 1, processed meats causes cancer, and the red meat, which is group 2A, probable cause of cancer. So this basically, is one of the issues of the modern lifestyle diet, which we want to tackle directly. And then looking also a bit more introspective in terms of the regional so-called markets. I think we are all been experiencing the inflationary trend of food prices, especially for meat. This is taken from The Economist. More and more, I would say, the basic food products are getting more expensive by the day, right? And in Malaysia as well, the palm oil, chicken, basic food stuff is experiencing increment in food prices that we have actually never really experienced before. So as well, if you want to look at the food security index, which is taken back in 2019. Um, Uniquely, Singapore, a small island down south, our neighbor, is number one in terms of managing the food security of their for their citizens, which begs a lot of fundamental questions looking at how we are managing our food supply chain. Countries with a lot bigger land area have actually faring far behind Singapore in terms of food security. So there's a lot of questions that can be thrown out there and discussed, right? And how do we see a solution to all this? We want to eat healthy, you want to be self-reliant. So we actually believe that by normalizing, by taking, I would say, a normal regularizing approach of making plant-based diet as a normal thing to do is a very, very, I would say, effective strategy, right from the grassroots, the consumers and users like us, up to the um, farmers, up to the governments as well. So it is a very conclusive and cohesive, I would say, action plan to get people to really look into, a sustainable way of living. So using, sorry, this is also came in very, very recently by Boston Consulting Group, which confirmed the opportunity uh, in alternative proteins in fighting climate change. So I think it was basically our guest from Indonesia just now who actually mentioned about the potential of alternative proteins fighting the climate change. So this confirms it. One of the key basically weapon that we can actually use in addressing this global issue right now. And how do we look at plant-based diet? Plant-based diet, is like Mr. Yaakob mentioned now, it has been in the increasing trend for the past number of years. Yes, and like us humans, we have very different definition of plant-based diet. We have the typical vegan, vegetarian, there's pescatarian, flexitarian, ovo-lacto, vegetarian. There's just so many types of plant-based diet. But to us, any plant-based diet is good because you are trying consciously to eat more sustainably, not just for the betterment of Mother Nature as well as for your own body. And just, I think I would be like the least, I would say, authority to actually talk about nutritional properties of jackfruit among our guests here today. So since they will be actually quite required by me, by Mr. Yaakob to talk a little bit more. So I think this is something that most of us here today would already know that jackfruit has just an abundant or a long list of nutritional benefits to at least to our bodies, right? And you like antioxidants like vitamin E, C, and A, carotenoids, phytonutrients. I can go on, and this is only looking at the flesh itself, not even the seeds, where I think our guest from Vietnam also shared that it has a high amount of protein, right? So to us, jackfruit is like a godsend ingredient that are very, very sustainable that we could really look into and develop more and more options for sustainable and also healthy diet for us humans living on the face of earth right now. Okay, and just a quick introduction to our brand with the brand name Nanka. Nanka is basically spin off from the Malay word of Nangka, which essentially means jackfruit, right? I think it's of course it's being known by some other names, some other countries, with the tagline "Meat Substitute, Meat Jackfruit," where we employ our proprietary process where we use unripe jackfruit, less than a month old. As you can see, it's sticky with all the goo seeping out from the fruit. and if not processed properly, it could actually give you gas, right? Into this wonderful plant-based meat formulation where we have actually developed a few, I would say, iterations of this so-called meat. We have developed it into burger patties, cubes, dices, minces, and the latest luncheon meat. And how do we actually, compare ourselves to the other products in the market, plant-based meat products in the market with the very high fiber content. So that would be our, so-called the unique selling proposition out there. So if you really want to look at how nutritious we can be, um, let's just look at our sample of patties. This is actually a real close-up picture of our plant-based meat jackfruit. 70% content of jackfruit, 25% of grey oyster mushroom, and the rest is basically a combination of other plant-based ingredients like cassava flour, potato flour, all those plant-based ingredients. So we don't use any chemical or synthetic flavoring, coloring, and we don't also use any of the preservatives. We only use only natural based preservatives. So I like to think this is very good for human consumption. It can be eaten almost on a daily basis. So we are also looking at making this as accessible or democratizing the access to plant-based meats as much as possible. So coming back to the nutritional side, if you want to compare to the standard animal meat patty, you would have the fiber content from 8 to 15%, where we easily can challenge them with double of that amount, almost 30% of our the daily dietary fiber requirement set by the Malaysian dietary guidelines. We can fulfill that. So in essence, if you take like 3 pieces of patties of our plant-based meat, you already fulfill most of your fiber requirement for the day. And if you want to compare the protein content, standard meat burger patties in the market is 12 to 20%. We are actually comparable to animal meat patties, where we stand at 21% of the daily protein requirement. Supply for jackfruit, I think I would not dare to challenge Mr. Christopher's statistics. I've taken this actually from the MAFI's Malaysia's Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries website. Just want to reflect on thanks to the Malaysian government's recognition of jackfruit as a commercial plantation, we are blessed with abundance of supply, right? And with our production right now, we are only tapping like really little percentage of the nation's supply. So we don't really see this as a challenge or issue. Sometimes when we pitch to our investors will be like, hey, how do you get your jackfruit supply? How can you guarantee your jackfruit supply? I would say, I would just open up this slide that we don't have to really worry about this, because Malaysia is blessed with an abundance of jackfruit. So when you want to introduce something new, right, which known as plant-based meat, we have cultivated meats, we have hybrid meats in the market right now, and we do also have the traditional, conventional, as I would like to call it, plant-based meat 1.0, which is basically made from soy. And we would like to be known as plant-based meat 2.0, where we are just by quantum leaps and bounds, very, very similar to meat, as you can see from the picture just now. We want to taste like meat. We want to behave like meat. And when you cook it, it smells like meat. So if it behaves, sound, looks, tastes like meat, then it should be meat, right? So yeah, that's how we want to portray ourselves differently from the plant-based meat 1.0, which is basically made from soy. And I think soy here in the regional market, at least in ASEAN, is not something that we can plant easily. We have to actually import it. So this is something like not really supporting the circular economy or being able to be self-reliant. So we try to get away from that soy-based ingredient as much as possible. And when you want to introduce this new product into the market, okay, um, we look at this checklist of 5 components that you must address. First is, of course, the taste. In the words of Burger King, taste is king, right? We gotta ace that first. We gotta champion that first. So for the past 6 years, we have been working our backs off, trying to really nail this particular component of taste. And we believe we have done it. Affordability is work in progress. We want to make our products as accessible to everyone as possible. Nutrition, of course, we want to be as comparable to our counterparts, meat-based counterparts out there. Localization is a key challenge as well, where we want to also be creating a product that can be used according to our local culture, local customs, local diet, local dishes, right? We want to be able to cook our plant-based meats in rendang, in curry, or any other kind of dishes that we typically prepare in our own home. And versatility, where we also believe that we have addressed this challenge effectively, which I will share a little bit later. So let me just share very quickly in terms of the unique selling proposition that we have basically managed to achieve and set ourselves apart from our competition. Our proprietary jackfruit mix, right, as I've shared earlier on in the slides, we have actually managed to create a flexible master ingredient made of jackfruit mix, like a white canvas. It can be blended with any source of proteins out there. So jackfruit, as it is, the flesh doesn't have a lot of protein content, right? So we want to talk about alternative meat, alternative proteins. We have to actually combine it with other source of protein. We have tried it with animal meat itself, right? As a flexitarian burger patties, we have done that. We have done it with, of course, mushroom. We have done it with mycoprotein, which is protein derived from fungus. We have done it with lentils, legumes, chickpeas, peas. We even have tried it with insect protein as well. So we have done quite a number of research and trials based on that. And it looks pretty amazing. And it is cost efficient with the perennial jackfruit as it is, and all year round of supply. It makes it inexpensive. We are able to tap into the supply at any given moment. And we take pride in the sense that our products are minimally processed. We only utilize mechanical methods. Basically, we can just set up shop or set up factory like any other day in any other place. We only use a typical set of machines, food processor, blender, things like that. So it's very mechanical. We don't use any of those fancy extrusion methods where they are actually use like extreme heat and pressure, and this makes it more processed than it should be. Shelf stable. So this is where the versatility component I've talked about, where we actually have managed to pack our plant-based meat using retort process. So again, I think I saw from our Vietnamese presenter just now. I'm sorry, I really can't remember the name. Where they want to actually pack it in a more sustainable or prolong their shelf life in a certain kind of packaging. So you might want to look into the retort process, where we could actually get our processed meat in plant-based processed meat in this retort pouches. And we have been doing this for more than a year, and this is the kind of packaging that we have been sending to our customers outside of Malaysia. Solves the issue of high cost of refrigeration and cold chain logistics. And of course, the plant-based nutrition, we are fiber rich, which translate to being satiety high, long factor of satiety, and plant-based protein as a healthy alternative, and also make it scalable anywhere. We could basically set up our shop or factory basically anywhere, as long as we have access to jackfruit. And our products, we have ready to eat. We are selling it as burgers, as cooked dish, Western format like meatballs, nuggets. We also have high value ingredient. This is something that we supply to our B2B customers. And if you wonder how jackfruit looks like, after it has been processed to the retort packaging, this basically the jackfruit means the reddish one down there. That is how it looks like after we actually use retort process. It looks very much like minced meat, right? So this is basically one of the key properties of jackfruit that we are very, very, interested in and thankful, so that it can be, carry that meat lookalike properties in our formulation. We have our ready to heat meals, basically local dishes prepared with in ready to be heated by microwave kind of meals. We also have a ready to cook frozen basically range, where we have the standard burger patties. We also have children's bite-sized patties as well, mini patties, and we're going to launch our meat cubes or meat dice very, very soon. Our customers have been, basically looking into B2B, B2C, and B2G. We want to work with ethical businesses, conscious consumers, and caring governments, where each and every customer segment have their own, of course, set of demands and sensitivities. So we believe we are able to actually cater to those specific demands. Our revenue sources, interestingly, 45% of our sales actually goes to the export market. Plant-based meat here in Malaysia is still at its infancy stage. Even though that, a plant-based meat 1.0 has been here for a while, so it's the stigma towards the vegan and vegetarian food range is still there. They still think that, I don't want to be eating plant-based meat that tastes like soy. So when they actually tasted our products, it really blew their mind, how different we are from the plant-based meat 1.0. We have been exporting to Japan and Singapore, and we are now making our way into Korea as well as China. Also, like food services, B2B, we are working with restaurants and bakeries. We are looking into supplying to caterers and hotels. DTC, direct to consumer, aka online. We have our own e-store, e-commerce platforms like Foodpanda, GrabFood, or any other food deliveries, and partnerships with other so-called food vendors. And in the works, we are also making our way into convenience marts, one of the largest being Mesra, which is owned by Petronas, our national petroleum oil company, located in all the Petronas gas station. And the niche segments we are looking into is breaking into schools, private and public, as well as offering plant-based meats to inpatients in hospitals. The market potential is potentially limitless, at least here in Asia, where it is a double-digit growth with a double-digit billion worth of market size, according to Euromonitor. And of course, the pandemic only accelerates the demand even further. The surveys done by at least Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia shows that people more and more are getting into plant-based food consumption. In the Europe, of course, where the craze initially started, it is becoming, more and more basically exposed into the awareness of eating plant-based diets. So this is something that we would like to penetrate as well. And at least in the Malaysian landscape, we believe that we are the most convenient and affordable range here. I would say the closest competitor that we have is Harvest Gourmet, which is owned by none other than Nestle. And we do have a friendly, I would say, banter with Future Fruit, which is a soy-based meat. Again, a 2.0 version, very different from the earlier ancestors. Of course, Beyond Meat and Impossible, they have been, charging the whole plant-based meat scene ever since 3 to 4 years back. And Karana is also a jackfruit-based meat company which is located in Singapore. So we would like to think that this would be the landscape that we are in right now. Our traction, we have received investment from Singapore and Japan. Our sales growth have been doubling from year to year. We have received strings of awards here and there by both international and local, basically certifications and agencies. I think the best would be, the biggest is being recognized as Malaysian government listed as a special KPI under the Malaysian Commercialization Year 2021. And of course, we are certified halal as well. Our market reach has been local and international. Our affiliations, the best, again, I would like to impress upon you guys is we've been inducted as the first Asian company, food tech startup from Asia to be inducted into the first cohort of Food Bites Accelerator Program by Rabobank. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have heard about Rabobank. Rabobank is one of the biggest agricultural bank in the world, headquartered in Netherlands. We have been working with big GLC government-linked companies in Malaysia, like Samdabi, Petronas. We have other collaborative research projects funded by Good Food Institute, and we have received numerous government support here in Malaysia. This is our core team. We are running a very tight-knit team, and our angel investor Satoshi-san is basically helping us in expanding the market in Japan. And this is our facility, right smack in the middle of the urban town called Subang Jaya. I would like to invite all of you to come and pay us a visit, swing by if you're in Malaysia, about 40 minutes from KLIA, where we house our production facility, a central kitchen, we are coming up with nutritional lab and training rooms, of course the admin office. We would like to create like a food hub for food entrepreneurs that could actually use more plant-based foods in their products. So the world is going meatless. Are you in? With that, I thank you.